Hello, and welcome to Dress to Kill, your favorite fashion in action movie podcast. Today's episode is a watch-through of Disney's live-action Mulan from 2020. This is our first ever Disney movie. It's packed with action, fashion, and feminist ideology. Yay! Exactly what we love on this podcast. The story of Mulan is based on Chinese mythology, and we chose Mulan for this week's movie in honor of the Lunar New Year. This year, 2022, Chinese New Year, or the Lunar New Year, falls on February 1st, and it's the year of the water tiger. Wow. Let us know what you thought of Mulan and see images of the outfits we chose on our Instagram at DressedToKillPod, or find us on Twitter at DTKPOD. Happy Lunar New Year, Happy Western New Year, Kunhi Fa Choi. Enjoy! Happy almost Chinese New Year, everybody. Chinese New Year is on February 1st this year, I believe, according to Google. Thank you, Google. Mommy Google. And we are doing this episode at this time in honor of Chinese New Year. I feel like there's a little bit of housekeeping we got to get out of the way with this with this movie, Mulan 2020, because there was a lot of political stuff around it. Slightly drama. And if you listen to our show, I think you'll know that we like to take art for art and not add in the political things that might be on the side. Like, I know it's important to care about things, but there are also so many people who work on a film like this and who have made incredible things, and we think it's important to give them the light that they deserve also. So we're showcasing this movie by having it on our podcast to honor the art and the politics aside. Yes. So
totally.
And we wanted to do an episode for Chinese New Year, especially because Elma and I grew up in Hawaii, and we have a connection to Chinese New Year because they celebrate it in Hawaii and
Hugely.
And it's probably not the most authentic, I can say, if we're talking about politics and authenticity, but it's our experience. So we wanted to give a little shout out to Chinese New Year.
And it's what is it going to be? The year of the tiger next?
Tiger,
right?
yeah. 2022 year of the Taigi.
And we are year of the dragons.
We're dragons. We're dragons,
We're
baby.
year of the dragons. And I love all of the the Chinese zodiac stuff is
I love it.
It's and super present also in Japanese culture too.
Really? Oh yeah, Chinese New Year stuff. I never know what to call it. Chinese zodiac?
Lunar New Year.
Lunar New Year?
Chinese zodiac. Yeah, I call it Chinese
I'm
zodiac.
always like, the Chinese zodiac-like thing that is the animals of
Are
the
you
years?
a dragon? Are you a snake?
Yeah, and then I just start
Are you a
naming
rabbit?
creatures. I'm like, the creatures.
Yeah.
And people will either know what I'm talking about, or they'll be like, that exists?
I go off of that a lot a than like the other horoscope.
Really?
A lot more. So when you
I
talk
didn't know
about,
that.
Really? You didn't know this about me? Like when people are like, what sign are you and stuff, it's
You're like, dragon.
I mean, I know what people mean to ask, but I kind of just relate more with what I grew up with. And my mom was always like putting like things like dragon and rats are supposed to be really compatible together. That's me and my brother.
I was going to ask, is your brother a rat?
Yeah, so like, and we're tight, so we get along.
I think my dad might be a rat.
Oh yeah.
Or a dog. Okay.
But yeah, so I love all of that stuff. Chinese New Year was, I mean, we didn't celebrate it personally in our household, but the neighborhood, you know, like your neighborhoods in like the suburbs of Honolulu, like
Chinese New Year is equivalent, if not bigger than actual New Year in Hawaii, especially in the category of sound.
Oh,
if you haven't been to a Chinese New Year celebration or been in a neighborhood that celebrates it, it's like the type of fireworks that they use. It's all about just being like the absolute loudest, and it goes for like a solid 2 minutes of just like continuous loud popping.
Oh yeah, like
for each one that they
competition
run.
Of how long can you keep it going,
and it's always competition.
Yeah.
And then like somebody will set off there. It looks like I'm making weird hand motions. It looks like how do you describe what it looks like? Like a line of little
a long trail of like what looks like shotgun shells.
Yeah, basically. Like little tiny fireworkies, but they're all attached to each other like on a rope type of thing. And you light the one at the bottom and you have it hanging, and it'll just go up straight up the top, and it's just like one right after the other popping like crazy. And these are the loudest types of fireworks.
So loud.
And people will just be like, great, now I'm going to do my thing. And now mine's a bigger chain. Let me do mine. And it's just like all night. And then you wake up the next morning and the streets have like little red
bits of paper,
stuff
shredded
everywhere because each single one of those makes so much of it. Like if you've been to a proper Chinese New Year celebration, like at a Chinatown or like in a temple or in China, maybe I can only speak to the American experience. The streets have to be like you can't see the gravel, you can't see the ground after one of those. They are fully littered with like little red bitsies.
Yes, so pick up after yourselves if you can.
I mean, it's kind of impossible, but if you can, that's great. Maybe volunteer to help clean up. That'd be nice. We should do that. That'd be a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, and speaking of growing up in Hawaiian stuff, because we have to mention it every time, Jason Scott Lee is in this.
He's Hawaiian, right?
Yes.
Or from Hawaii?
I don't think
he's Hawaiian.
I think he is.
I think he's Chinese.
I think he's like I saw his
Papa.
IMDb. It says he's like half, or I don't know half, but of Hawaiian and Chinese descent or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, grew up in Hawaii.
Props to a Hawaii boy.
Mowgli from Jungle Book.
He's Mowgli from Jungle Book?
The live action one? Do you not remember this? That's what I remember.
I didn't
him
like
from.
the live action one, and I think
Wait,
I'm
like
sorry.
the old one, like the one from
animated
like the
one.
90s.
What?
No. They did a Jungle Book with people in it from like when we were young. The 90s
I don't even
one.
remember that existing.
Oh, well, that's what I remember him from, and I feel.
I just remember him from being in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know why that doesn't stand out to me.
I mean, the animated one is the main one. So.
Maybe it's because I've probably just seen it once. I don't know. What year did that come out?
94.
94.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I remember liking this a lot.
You know what my instinct is? To ask, well, who's the girl in it? Because I still would be like, I identify with the girl. I want to see the girl. Who's the girl?
I was like, as you were saying, I was like, damn, I can't remember any of it though.
I remember clearly who the animated girl is, even though she's only in it for like a scene.
I also don't remember that. Anyway, and this was fun watching Mulan because I'm not a huge Disney person like you are, and
let's set the record straight. I'm not a huge Disney person. I'm just a Disney person, and to Elma, that's like, oh my god,
you're the most Disney person that I know, but that's because
she
I'm surrounded
refuses to
by
talk to Disney people. We're gonna arrest her.
That's why. And the one Disney person in my life happens to be my best friend, so I have to deal with it. But no, but this brought back memories of the original Mulan, of course, which I loved as a kid. Like it was like, I want to almost say like the only Asian Disney
I think she's
movie,
the only Asian
right?
Disney princess.
Yeah,
definitely. Pre 2010 she was. I don't know if they've made like a low-key one.
So I feel like it. Like when me and my sister talk about it, we're like, oh yeah, Mulan totally resonated with us. Like, I feel why other people might not pick it as their favorite, but also, the story is great.
I mean, she's the only, it's funny that she has to be a Disney princess. So like technically she's supposed to be a princess somehow. I think she marries into being a princess at the end or something in the animated one, but she's not. She's the only Disney princess who isn't really a princess, and she's the only Disney princess, quote, I'm doing this in quotes, who's a warrior, and she's the only Disney princess that fits the archetype of like, I'm gonna go rebel against and be my own. Well, that's not true. Other princesses try to rebel against, be their own person, but they're still princesses, and she does it quite differently. Like she's a really unique as far as the structure of being a Disney princess in my mind.
Sure, yeah.
In the 90s.
What was your experience with,
dude? I have
like old Mulan
so much to say because I read some articles and stuff, but they'll come up when we talk about the outfits. My experience was, I have seen this movie. Watching it for this podcast was my third time, but it's been a minute, and I just love it. I mean, when I if we're just gonna go overall thoughts on the movie, I thought it was so beautiful, so pretty, and so like symmetrical. Like I think the filmmakers did an incredible job of bringing together all these different elements that the audience expects and kind of needs in a film like this, and having them all be present and work. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I think it's really good. And I'm really impressed by them bringing all that together. Like what I mean by that is like,
I think the audience expects it to feel like Mulan, the animated movie, to some degree. So you have to bring in bits of that, or else you're going to get a disappointed audience. And I think they really seamlessly brought in bits of the animated movie. Like, even, I don't know how well you remember the animated one, since I'm more of a Disney girl.
Yeah.
But like, you know, some of the iconic bits of the original Mulan animated are the song lyrics, because the music in that was like really iconic and really well done. It was one of the first really incredible, like in that era, they had really good music.
They did, yeah.
So in this movie, in bits of the dialogue, they had people speak out lyrics to the song together. Like one person speaks, second person, third person, like a group of people are speaking one after the other, and they're speaking the lyrics of the song to talk about what the song is about. Yeah. But it's not becoming an animated sequence. It's not like a sing-along. It's just like, if you know the old movie, you get what they're saying, and you're like, oh, they're bringing that in for me.
That's so funny, because we always talk about how I'm much more of a, like, you're much more of a lyrics person when you listen to music, and I'm more of the music. So I noticed the music cues, like from, you know, there's like scenes when she's getting ready, and I'm like, oh, I'm humming along because I remember this from the animated and stuff.
They're doing
that.
Like
but
the instrumental epic version of Mulan animated.
Yeah, but the lyrics, I totally don't even remember, like a lot of, I mean, except for the Christina one, that I don't remember a lot of the lyrics.
I feel like they may have used a line from that too. I got to think about
probably,
it.
but like not enough. Like I don't know enough to just pick it up in my
Well, there's a specific scene. There's a few moments where they do stuff like this, but and I don't know. Well, I'm just gonna. If we're talking about the animated to the non-animated, let's just go for it. There's also the one of the characters who's one of her friends in the like military camp. His name is Cricket. That's because there's a cricket in the original, and they wanted to, like, they're not having a cricket in this one, but they wanted to throw homage. And they also, and he says he's lucky. That's why he's named Cricket, because it was a lucky cricket, which is like a Chinese thing to have crickets be lucky. And there's they don't have her dragon.
I know.
Mushu.
I missed. Okay.
This was a big thing people said, but instead they replaced it with her family's like iconic element creature that stands for their ancestors, being the phoenix. And I feel like they did a great job of involving the phoenix, but not making it feel like an animated movie.
Totally.
Which is the whole thing they did with taking out Mushu. I mean, the first time I saw it, I was missing him too. After that, I'm like, oh, I don't miss it at all. Miss him at all. But I kind of, part of me was like, well, were they going to give us a little bit of a dragon something just to give it to us?
Because we love dragons. I mean,
just because we're dragons.
Yeah.
We'll have to accept it.
Because after I watched it last night, I put on the old Mulan for...
You did?
Just to like peek.
And you still didn't hear the lyrics?
Well, I only watched I was just like, let me remember this movie. You know, so I just put it on and I was like, oh, fuck, this is why I loved it so much. Eddie Murphy is in it. He's hilarious.
So racist, though.
Oh my God, yes. It's so
incredibly racist.
I think the one scene I watched was like when they were meeting for the first time. Yeah.
Yep.
I know. Oh my God.
Like, I can hear Shrek's donkey in this, and now I get it.
Yeah. But I did love the snappy like dialogue, like the pacing, and like it had a spirit of its own. That, when we're kids, totally.
This is the type that we are. Like we've said before, like we appreciate the art for its art. It can have its flaws, but we're like, cool. Yeah. It's important to know that and to not try to repeat that part of it, but enjoy it for the art's sake of it.
Exactly. Should we do our outfits?
I feel like I need to mention some of what the controversy was, just so that it's not like...
Lay it out, because
we're blindies or something.
I don't know a whole lot, except from what you said.
Yes.
So please, tell me.
And every time we do these movies that aren't Bond, I tend to be the one doing more of the research, because Elma does all the Bond stuff. So I'm like, let me take my responsibility role here. Generally speaking, the controversy around this film... There was a boycott when it first came out, where people were recommended by the internet at large, like some specific sects of the internet, whatever you guys can imagine. I'm going to give a really general overview. There was aggressively suggested boycott of the movie, because the lead actress voiced her views on what was going on in China and Hong Kong, and she is on the side of Hong Kong. Not Hong Kong. I'm so sorry. She's on the side of China, and generally America is on the side of Hong Kong. I mean, I have my personal opinions on this, but at the same time, I'm no expert, so I don't want to say one is right or the other is right, just officially, because I like to be 100% educated. But generally, America is on the side of Hong Kong, and most things you'll read in America really make sense in that way. And she was pushing against that, like, pretty actively. A lot of people said she took advantage of the time the movie came out to voice her views. Oh. But it seems like she had been voicing her views since the issues started. Sure. So I don't know if that's really accurate or if that was just more like attempted villainizing. I feel like our choice of watching this is not about her. It's about the movie at large. And obviously she's the main character. And I get it. But I say like what we can do about that is we're just going to not voice the actress's name. And that'll be us staying neutral. Okay. Cool. Because the whole point of the boycott was like, well, clearly don't give attention to a person who has such a terrible view, whatever. Right. And also, if you look up the reviews of this movie, you'll see everything was bombed. Review bombed. Not literally bombed, but like by internet people doing things like the reviews were really bombed because of this. Not to say it's a perfect movie, but what you'll read in reviews is not necessarily accurate to people who've watched the film. And the box office money from this is also really low. Yeah. Very bad. It did so poorly. Maybe the worst ever.
It was also like the first big movie that came out during COVID, right? Wasn't it? I feel like it was like a lot of other movies that were about to come out after were like, we're kind of waiting to see what Mulan does.
I don't know, because Mulan had a really specific thing because they went through Disney Plus. Like what was special about Mulan doing the Disney Plus thing is it was also a push to get people onto Disney Plus.
Right.
Because it was still fairly early in the Disney Plus game. Yeah. So I don't know. I can't speak to how the other networks were listening to that or whatever, but it was a Disney Plus push. I know that. I don't believe it was in theaters or maybe select theaters because it's in 2020 that it came out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
There's one other thing that is the controversy around this is that they filmed a bunch of their scenes apparently in an area of China that is known for having, I don't know what if this is true or not, but according to the articles I read, it's known for having concentration camps for Middle Eastern people. Oof. And like very messed up stuff going on over there. To be clear, we are anti-concentration camps. If that's not clear, yes, we are pro-human rights of all humans. Yes, every single human, even animals, we are pro their rights. So absolutely not for that.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know if I have an opinion or if it's fair even. Like, we aren't the people to, if you want to have opinions about this, don't come to our podcast because I would say the same to anyone else. Don't get your opinions from someone who isn't educated in that field.
Yeah, sure.
So for that reason, I'm just going to leave it at that. That's what the controversy was. And that's why we're choosing to watch and review the film anyway. They feel like separate matters to me.
Exactly.
Okay, but back to the movie. Shall we start with our outfits?
Yeah, let's do it. Because like you said, it is beautiful. Like, so beautiful. Opening shot, everything, all those establishing shots of like the desert, there's gorgeous scenes of like the temples.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
And like, if they're like, great, we're going to have the warriors practice here. Why don't we have a snowy, gorgeous mountain ridges behind them? Beautiful. Or, hey, we're going to have a little fight happen here. Why don't we do it at the tip of a desert dune at sunset? Or like, we're gonna have this. Why don't we do it in the middle of sulfur fields that look absolutely stunning? Fields, like everything is gorgeous. And what I was gonna say is going with those tropes. So like, not tropes, but going through all the things that audience expected. I think the audience expected it to have that animated Mulan vibe. They also expected it to have the like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like epic Chinese movie vibe where like everything is gorgeous, like every shot is a work of art. Yes. And I think they had to have that included because they want this to feel like one of those types of movies, and they did that really well. They also needed it to feel like a Disney movie, and I feel like they just pumped up the saturation of colors, 20%, and like, great, now it's a Disney movie. And they gave us a few animated moments, a couple of comedic relief, and I'm like, I see that it's Disney. Like,
totally felt that.
I just feel like they hit each element they needed to hit and somehow combined them together pretty seamlessly. And that's why I feel like they did a really good job at something that's so hard.
You're so right about the Disney feel because you know, I like I said, I don't watch a lot of Disney movies. And the newer live action ones, I definitely haven't seen like any of them. Like I can't remember the last one. And I was like, oh yes, this does feel like a Disney movie when I saw the colors and everything. Yeah, like how perfectly everyone's like laundry is hanging over the ledges and of like their house and stuff. I was like, yes, it is a Disney movie. Which I have to be upfront, I don't know that I love
at all.
Not at all. It's like I mean, it feels like more costumed and forced in certain senses, you know, but it's beautiful. Like if you look at it as like you say, art, it's gorgeous. Yeah. But it pulls me out of like the realism of the story or whatever, you know, a little bit.
Well, let me just say one more thing. There's a reason I like that for this story. I don't love all the Disney live actions at all.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them are terrible. Some of them are semi-terrible. And a few of them are quite good. I mean, the reason I wanted us to cover this one is because the content, I mean, not only is it like warriors and women and costumes, but the content, like the message it's speaking about women is so empowering and absolutely wonderful. And that's kind of what our podcast is all about. But what I really thought worked with this movie being so like Disney done, even though it's a live action and it's about this ancient. So Mulan, the story of Mulan is an ancient myth. It's not history at all. Don't mix it up with history. And because that's where you get a lot of cultural upheaval and people getting upset, rightfully. It's not historically accurate, but it's a super old, gosh, I don't remember when. It was in the single, like the 3-digit era of years,
of
like
life.
The year 600 or something like that. 600 AD. I think it was something AD in Western years. But it's based on a myth. So it has been retold in so many different ways in so many different directions that I feel like the fact that it isn't history, it's a myth, and it somewhat has to have imagination involved and all that. Because of that, I like the Disneyification of it. Totally. So I'm like, that vibes. Yeah. This isn't a real thing. Yeah. This is something we have to remember it's trying to give us lessons and it's trying to tell us tales and it's trying to give us extreme versions of what happens when this happens. And, you know, like all myths are kind of there to culturally guide the listener, right? Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, so when they're more extreme in situations in it, I'm like, I vibe because it's myth vibes.
Myth vibes, totally. That makes sense. Absolutely.
But you're right. I can see how that would take someone like you out. I get it. But then there's people like me. We should do that as a poll. I'd love to hear what other people think if like things being a little more
like
animated, like that.
Exaggerated and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Should we get to the outfits?
I mean, I still love like those Pierce Brosnan, you know, James Bond movies. So
animated
I can't
in a different way.
Yeah, or like Roger Moore.
Like the punch up of the colors and the perfection of the laundry. But she loves the animatedness of dialogue.
I love like an exploding villain. Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah. Okay. Should I go first? Do you want to go first? Mine's pretty early.
I know which one yours first is. I can't wait to hear it. I'm so glad you chose it.
Gosh, I don't even know his name. I don't think
anyone
has a name. I called him the Silk Road Man. It was
what a cool name. Let's choose it. Keep
it's
that.
The guy that
he's like a Middle Eastern.
Yeah. He's walking his camel in the desert. Along when it shows that it's the Silk Road, he's walking his camel and he sees a mirage of the lady, the witch. And she enters herself into his body.
The perfect example of how this movie was how they executed things not just well, but artistically. Yes. It looked like little art bits.
So he is wearing this. Okay, first of all, this whole movie, the textures of the fabric, amazing. Like colors and textures.
Killer.
Yeah, lots of layering of fabrics and textiles. And so this was kind of the first moment where you see like lots of color and again, textures.
You've just seen like small town China clothing until then, and then you see this and you're like, oh,
so much color. And he has like this thick black eyeliner that I love.
And he's beautiful.
Yeah, he's beautiful. And just the colors and the layers of the clothes and the patterns and everything, you know, instantly grabbed your eye. I think that was the point of the whole thing. And yeah, I really love that. It shows good like little detail shots of his feet, and I love like when you show shoes and what they're wearing on the bottom, all like those panning shots from feet to head and everything. And yeah, so that's my first pick. Gorgeous, like teal color coat.
Love it.
Beautiful.
Ooh, I love it so much.
Yeah, they did such a great job with, I mean, like you said, the use of color, punching things up, like it all works so well together. And in the setting, like the production, what do you call it when, you know, the sets
design?
and everything. Yeah, the production design.
Yeah.
Stunning, and the costumes fit super well in the spaces that they were in.
Yeah. And I love the concept that she can just like kind of like take over someone's body.
Yeah.
Because then you get to have all these different people doing things. And I love that she's like, I'm the puppeteer, baby.
Yes.
You're like, ooh, you are, milady? Please. Yeah, very cool. Love. I also love the contrast between his costume and hers, because hers is pretty much black. Whoa, did my voice just crack? Anyway. Yeah, very cool. Okay, my first one is in the... I mean, a lot of these costumes are worn throughout, so I wrote them chronologically to when I decided, but they might be a little out of order. The first one I've written down is the commander in the army in his, I'm calling it golden armor. It's like black with gold accents and things. Yeah. And what I mean by this look is I mean all iterations of it. Like he's not wearing the helmet in that scene, and he's not wearing the like shoulder paddy things, I don't think, that have like, I don't know if they're lions or dragons or something on them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I mean the full look when I call that.
I love it. It was so eye-catching when he first.
Yes.
Also, fucking Donnie Yen is the man. I love him so much, and I was like, damn, they really got everyone in the casting, like Gong Li.
They really did.
Yeah, and then
even at the end, that one woman who's in everything, who's Chinese, she just comes in for like 3 seconds, and you're like, yeah, you had to get them all, didn't you? Pokemon over here.
But fuck, I was also like, what? Jet Li?
Yeah.
Like I didn't recognize him at
That's
first.
what the internet thought, because I was looking things up afterward, and apparently the internet was really like, what? Jet Li?
Yeah. Jet Li, Gong Li, Jason Scott Lee. Give me all the Lees.
Lee. Where's Lily Sobieski?
Oh my God, they forgot about one.
Forgot about Dre. In this case, Lily.
But yes, I love Donnie Yen so much, and he I think he kind of stole the scene like every time he was in it.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of his outfits, and that gold armor was pretty epic. I like it.
Yeah. I like that he stole the scene, because I feel like, I mean, not only is he meant to be this like epically powerful personality, but I kind of like, I think most of the scenes he's in are with Mulan and her love interest. Okay, I wrote it down. Honghui.
Yeah.
Because they barely say his name in it.
I know. I was like,
man,
am
what
I
was his name again?
Awful with like names that I can't remember? But no, I guess they didn't mention it too many times.
They didn't mention it too many times. When he's in scenes with them, I feel like I like that for her love interest character, they didn't go with some like already established, powerful, incredible warrior dude guy, but it's someone who she's just like also in the camp with. Yeah. Like he's clearly good and has a lot of
courage,
admirable
bravery, truth,
values. Yeah. Like he's a great guy, seems like, but he's not this like, I don't love it always when the man she's vying for is like above her. You know, I like that they were
very much equals in this. Yeah.
So I like that he was still not somebody who would really steal the scene necessarily.
Yeah. Okay.
I like that they hired an actor who was kind of in that range as well. No offense, actor dude. He's very charming. I'm sure in a love story he'd steal the scene for sure.
Yeah, he is very charming. I was wondering this as I was watching this movie. The kind of romantic lead, I feel like whenever it's an Asian man.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's almost always he has to have a perfect like American or British English accent. I feel like oftentimes they don't
Asian lead, you mean?
Yeah, like when it's an Asian man in a romantic lead, I feel like it comes off as like
he's not hot unless.
Yeah, if he has an accent, it's not gonna. But
Does
I don't
this
know.
guy have an accent? I don't even remember.
No, he doesn't. That's why he's one of the only guys. I think there's like one other side character in this, or maybe like 2 other of the side guys in the army that have like just American accents.
Yeah,
but the lead, like in Crazy Rich Asians, is Henry Golding. He's like perfectly British accent.
That's right.
I didn't see Shang-Chi. Wait, does he have an
perfect
accent?
American accent?
Yeah.
Well, he grows up in America.
Okay.
Like
I don't know the story.
I mean, he's Chinese, but not didn't grow up Chinese.
Gotcha.
So much.
But and I mean, that's most of the times that's the story is written that way. Like same with Crazy Rich Asians. He's like half British, half Chinese, whatever. But a lot of the times,
I hadn't thought of.
It's like, you know, like it's a big deal when, I don't know if you remember when Steven Yeun from Walking Dead had like the first Asian kiss scene or like sex scene on TV.
In The Walking Dead?
Yes, and this was like not that long ago.
I never watched that. I remember the controversy.
I didn't watch it either.
We don't walk with the dead. I saw him in an improv show once though, and he was it was tiny. He was so good. He wasn't famous yet. And I was like, that guy's so good and so sexy. And then he was famous. And I was like, yeah, of course. Of course now he's famous. Sure. If this is the guy I'm thinking.
But like, perfect American accent, you know, I don't know. I just there's other Asian actors that have, unless you're like Jet Li status, you know, like of, you know, you have like these other skills that are like the appealing, like, you know, I do all my stunts and I'm a fighter and all that stuff, like, or also a previous generation. But I feel like nowadays it's always very like, okay,
whitewashed.
Yeah,
basically. My feelings on that are 80%, yeah, of course, it's totally just whitewashing, because we know that about what's been going on with Asians in media, like over the past few years. I don't have specific dates to recall, but over the past few years, there's been a whole thing about like Asian leading men can be a thing now. Like the fact that we're talking about that in the 21st century, like not even in the 90s, we're only talking about it now, says a lot. Yeah. Like we're only just getting to that point where it's like Asian men can be the hot guy.
Right.
They don't have to be the friend.
Yeah. Sure.
Like that's new still in media, and I love that it's finally happening.
Yeah.
Like there's this whole thing about like, what, Asian guys are hot? Look at all these hot Asian guys. It's like hot Asian guys was like a trending thing a little bit ago because it was a new thing in media to be like hot Asian guys. How about it?
Hey, I mean, I love that they're getting the light and everything.
I do too.
And, you know,
and that's another reason I want to show movies like this, because I know it's just silly. It's a whatever movie, but like we want to give attention to these different cultures and stuff.
Yeah.
I think even though this isn't depicting specific perfect Chinese culture, because it is a myth and it's cut and paste of all kind of stuff, it still is showcasing so much more of Asian culture generally to so many more eyeballs. This is Disney. Like our biggest audience is white Americans, let's be honest, like probably middle America white Americans who don't have as much exposure. So this is nice.
Yeah. Full Asian cast. Like I love, and you know, like amazing Asian actors of all these different generations too, all coming together in like a Hollywood.
And I think everyone in this was Chinese, because like this is after we started getting like, hey, do your part, don't hire Emma Stone to play Asian. No offense, Emma Stone, you're sweet, but they did a poor job.
Wait, did that really happen?
Yes.
What?
She plays a Hapa girl and she's blonde in it. They don't even dye her hair.
In what?
It's called Aloha. It's a movie that takes place in Hawaii.
I didn't realize she was supposed to be
Asian.
Hapa.
I watched the whole movie and didn't realize that until I read
I don't
about
think I saw it. Never mind.
The movie is terrible, by the way. It was really hard to pay attention even. It was so
Gotcha.
bad. I'm so sorry to whoever directed it or wrote it, whatever. It didn't come together. And this is all my opinion. But I'll argue for the other 20%, like 80%, of course, what you're saying. Absolutely, I agree. 20%, there is something, at least for me, I'm really attracted to voices, and there's something about being able to speak clearly and enunciate and appropriately to the situation that is a big attractor for me.
Yeah.
So not that they can't have any kind of accent, but it would need to be an accent that they could also very clearly speak their words properly as well. Articulate themselves.
Of course,
is to me real hot for a man. And it kind of separates the hotness of a man from the hotness of a boy. You know? Sure.
And, you know, it could also just be that the best actors for the part is getting the part. And that.
Oh, I think they can change their accents. We're underplaying.
I mean, also that. Yeah. But totally.
Yeah. But it is mostly whitewashing. That's just my literal 2 cents.
Okay, one last thing, because you remember when Diego Luna was the big part in this recent Star Wars movie, and I don't know if you saw like the posts going around, like it touched like the father of this little girl who saw that movie, because he saw a Hispanic accented man as the leading role, didn't change their accent, and it was like a big deal. It really spoke to Diego Luna himself. And I'm like,
and you know what, his voice is clear and epic with accent. So
so it's kind of a moment like
possible.
this, like it's just didn't have to change the accent. And I mean, this guy acting Hong Kui, probably that's just his normal voice, so whatever. But there's those things that I think about.
But all the guys who aren't the leading character, many of them have accents, but it's the leading guy who's meant to be hot who doesn't. So like, it's kind of saying something. It's like, well, but you're only the like appropriate and attractive guy if you don't have the accent, which is the problem.
Okay, should we go on with my number 2 outfit? Sorry for a long ass tangent.
We have a lot to say.
Okay, my number 2. Oh, okay. This might be an obvious one. It's Mulan's purple, like matchmaking, getting ready dress.
Yes. Oh, I'm glad you picked it.
It's just so striking.
Yes.
Like,
and you don't get to see a lot of that in this movie, so it's like it's your like a moment of gem.
Fashion. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And my favorite thing about it is, I mean, any getting dressed scene is awesome. But all of everything is tied and wrapped around her. There's no fasteners, no zippers, no buttons, like nothing, because it's, like ancient or whatever. So it's all just ribbons tying things, holding things together. I love that. They showed that really well.
The design, I read something about the costume designer talking about all the wardrobe stuff.
Who's Bina Dagler, right? I think is her name.
Bina Dagler. It's German.
Oh, Dagler,
maybe.
Okay.
That's the costume designer. Just if we didn't say it at the top, we said it now. And she was nominated for an Emmy for this.
Oh,
or was it an Emmy or an Oscar? It must have been an Oscar, because Emmys are
Emmys
television. My bad. This is why Elma does the facts.
Usually, I just went with it.
Nominated for an Oscar. She was talking about making this, and she said in that she took inspiration for costumes from a bunch of different eras in Chinese history, and kind of mashed them together. Cool. There are some moments where she stays really true to a certain era or to a certain dynasty in the style, and then she'll just like add layers to it, like slightly tweak it. But in a lot of cases, she's like mixing other elements together. And in that, she had a standout thing where she really liked the fact that it was a wrap dress, and she wanted to involve that.
Cool.
So you're picking up on exactly what she was laying down.
Awesome.
So cool. I
love that scene.
All the fastenings, like
because if you look at like I mean, zippers didn't exist. There were probably buttons, and often in Chinese traditional wear, you see what they call frogs, which are like they're like these corded embroidered things. They're basically little buttons that they make out of cording. None of that, you don't see that either, but that probably is a little more
later
modern.
in history, maybe?
Exactly. But I like that it's just all just with ties and ribbons.
I love it. And it really gives you an idea of what it would feel like to wear that garment, that whole scene of like this many ties and this many wraps and something going here and something else going here and this is happening here. Just like whoa. It is a lot, and it would take a while to get dressed. Yep.
Yeah. Because if I compare it to like Japanese or Indian type of traditional garb, that's also similar in the terms of wrapping fabric. Like Japanese, you don't use a lot of ties. You just tuck the ends of the fabric into, it's like origami style. You just fold fabric in. I feel like saris are also the same.
It makes sense because of origami,
right? Yeah. And then same with I think like
saris are the same with tucking fabrics in. Like
you don't have ties to hold things up and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a sheet of fabric, and you have to figure out how to wrap it around your body. That's like the slight differences in the Asian cultures. Oh, okay, what's your number 2?
Interesting. And by the way, this is the purple wrap dress, in case anybody's listening along. We didn't quite describe it all the way. It's a wrap dress. It's purple. It's very like classical looking, longer sleeves, but like long big bell sleeves.
Gorgeous.
And with
fuchsia
pink,
trim.
Bright fuchsia, like thick old trim that also is what's used to belt it. And she has like a breastplate-y thing, but fabric sticking out the front that has its own stuff on it, and there's a whole nother layer underneath that's like an off-white. It's
it's layers and layers.
It's on and on, and it's
fabric.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
We're not going to really describe each look because they're a little hard.
Yeah.
Like, go to our Instagram and take a look at the pictures because they're complex and gorgeous. Okay, my third look is, or my second look.
Second.
My second look is the witch. Just the witch's
cool.
look. My looks are pretty just basic because everything is done so well that I can't not. I gotta,
Yeah. She's striking. I mean, she looks different. I like that they had such a, like, she's a witch and a mythical creature. Like, they definitely kept that in her costuming. Like, it was more fantastical than what anyone else was wearing.
Exactly. She's the most fantastical character and they kept it there.
Yeah. I like that distinction. I would have maybe changed the hair and makeup though. I don't know. It works. It's, I don't have like any crazy opinion about it, but
yeah. What I like about the makeup is it seems like it's a call to Chinese culture in that they need to do the like painting of the face in order to be a proper woman and all that.
Okay,
and the fact that she's like half of her face is that way, it's like it shows that she's doing the same thing Mulan. She has done the same thing Mulan is doing, but in a prior generation and kind of a failed attempt. Like, she's really stuck between those worlds.
She is, yeah.
And trying to be out of it, but it has a hold on her. And I felt like that was a pretty good placement of that makeup wise. But
interesting, yeah.
There could have been iterations of that would have still kept that vibe. But that's the reason it's so strange. But the reason it didn't bother me is I felt like it had a lot of significance.
Yeah, okay.
Storytelling wise. Nice. I love that her sleeves are like a weapon. Like, she has so much chi as this witch that she can just like use her sleeve to grab someone. It's like feet past her hand and it can like...
Yes, I love that. Yeah, any
so
like
cool.
when your costume or your your clothes can be used as a utilitarian item.
I underlined that in my notes. I was like, love the utility of these costumes.
Yes. Cool.
And interesting thing about her, this was a costume that it was not the director, who's Nikki Caro, we have not described yet. Female director. Yay. Love it. She and Bina, the costume designer, had worked together before, and they had a similar vision for this. Like, they got each other's vision. This was one of the only costumes that they had totally different perspectives on how to do.
I'm curious.
And I don't know whose was whose or what, but the bullet point is originally her look was a lot more like a witch, like ethereal and light and not physical, not as physical. Not to say that they would like remove her feet or something, but just more light. But then they went through talking about how she's also fighting this stuff and how she's a warrior and that that's such like I love that they shifted warrior. This. They gave her more armor and made her a warrior who also had ethereal elements. Yeah. And I think that is I just can't emphasize enough how stoked I am on that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I feel like nobody does that. Everyone keeps this like, oh, but she's this whatever feminine. And sometimes that's appropriate, but it's so nice to see that broken. Like, she is a warrior. She has a bit like energy ability beyond, but she still is a warrior. It's not like that changes who she is.
Love that.
Cool
that. Thoughtful.
Yeah. And I love her weird crown thing. What is it, like a bird skull but gold?
Yeah, something like that.
You're like, yeah, exactly that.
I think that is.
And she had these like hardened leather shoulder things,
underneath,
like scaly. I love that it's all scaly too, because what she does, she turns into a raven back and forth. Like, there are moments where she keeps her hand as like a raven claw and uses it for battle. I just love that they keep her in her element like that. Very cool.
Very cool. My number 3 outfit is a simple one. It's when Mulan first leaves home and she's in the long blue coat. It's like a long duster, and I just loved it because I've said it already, the textures and the weight of this fabric looks so nice. And I mean, it's cool. I would wear that around the house.
It's so cool.
I think the color's beautiful. I love, that, I don't know what you call, it's not really a waffle texture, but it's a little bit crinkly, but you can tell it's a thick material from the way that it flows in the wind and stuff. I mean, it's all about the coat, but the whole outfit works. And you see it when she's like riding the horse. I didn't get a good picture of it, but
I love it. I'm so glad you chose that. Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Mulan's battle look, like after she's Mulan.
Okay. Yeah.
She has let her hair down.
Yeah. And
she's like letting her chi out, and she's flipping and kicking on a horse. No big deal. Yeah, that is my third look. I mean, I'm not like obsessed with the look, but I just thought it worked so well, and it worked perfectly on the actress, and like that she wears that for so long, and it needs to fit. She needs to be able to do all kinds of fighting. She needs to be able to ride a horse. She needs to be able to look more feminine all of a sudden, but she needs to still look like she came from this camp, like she didn't change clothes somewhere. Like, it has so many things it has to click together into this look and be utilitarian and also be aesthetic, and it worked. And I'm like, how did you pull it all together? Incredible.
I do love that when, I mean, a costume change happening in front of your eyes is always fun. So I love that part when she's taking off the armor and taking off the bits.
Yes.
I mean, I kind of loved it and I hated it because I'm like, you're gonna need your armor, girl.
Yeah, well, that's with emphasis on the chi, right?
Yeah,
that's why that part works, because you're like, oh, because she can feel when to move. Also, I think it's her gift is more in that sensing stuff, so being lighter is more of an advantage that makes sense. The armor is an advantage.
Yeah.
She's so intelligent.
Yeah. Good pick. Yeah, that's the iconic outfit. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, clearly her hair is done to some degree, but I like that it doesn't look perfectly done. Like, it's stringy. It looks like she's been shaking her head around all day, even though it has some curl at the bottom. Like, it's the most real looking for a Disney live action I think you can get.
Okay, yeah.
And I love it. I love that it's not perfectly done.
Yeah, love that it's not perfectly done.
Even her makeup. It's not like she suddenly has all this, like, makeup on.
Eyelashes. Yeah. Like, let me just stick on my eyelashes real quick.
If they made this like 15 years ago, she would have come out of there with perfect hair and eyelashes. Like, she'd have a smoky eye.
I mean, her hair is still pretty perfect though, but
I don't think it's that perfect.
I thought it was. I was like, okay, and it's
curled,
the
opposite.
But the thing is,
but she had it
in a bun. Yeah, I was like, okay, it makes sense because when I put my hair up in a bun and I take it out, it almost looks perfect.
And only the bottom is curled up. But I feel like it's very stringy. It's not like your classic.
It's not like a
nice
full
hair.
blowout, but yeah. But then I'm also like, just keep your hair up, girl. But again, maybe chi.
In honor of it showing the evolution in the character, like, she's different now. She has claimed her name. She's coming forth as herself. She wants to be seen as who she is. And when she's young, they have her with her hair down when she's practicing and all this stuff. So I feel like they're making a consistency, like, oh, well, who she is.
That makes
sense. Is the hair down. Again, yeah, it's convenient. Like, we were always talking about fighting, put your hair up. But it's a little different when there's chi involved, I feel like. Because you're kind of moving with the energy of the planet.
Maybe she can feel it through the ends of her hair, too.
Who knows? But yeah.
Okay. My number 4 is kind of similar to my number 3. So it's Hong Kui's first outfit that you see him in.
Really?
Yeah, which is also like a blue kimono. I think I've been having this blue kimono vibe on my mind because well, if you guys didn't know, I make kimonos for a living. Silk ones though, silk robes, and I'm always looking for like what could be a man's version, like if I wanted one for my husband or something, like just to lounge around in. And like I wear ponchos at home, like I'm very like I like just chill but cover, like I like wearing like a blanket, but with sleeves, not a Snuggie though.
A blanket with style, guys. Come on.
So if I could get like a blue, like indigo blue, clean looking kimono type thing, just a wrap top robe, I would wear that around the house all the time. So I liked his full look. And again, it's the layers of, you see it, he's wearing at least like 3 or 4 pieces of upper wear, like something on the top, jacket, the layer underneath, and then something probably underneath.
Yep.
And you see each layer, like it's all visible, which I love.
This movie is full of layers.
Like there's like one emperor that has like a million layers, like around the
she
collar,
said
right?
They're like, we're modeling it after this and this dynasty, and we knew he'd be sitting on a throne, so we just added a lot of layers so that he'd be as big as the throne,
right? Yeah.
I was like, great.
Exactly.
We see that. And even her, when she has that armor on, she's wearing it on top of all the stuff we already saw her wearing.
Right. Yeah.
Layer baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the blue colors in this.
Yeah,
really nice.
All the colors I think did.
I mean,
really,
all
really
the
well.
colors.
I love that they kept the like poppy brightness just to the village.
Yeah.
Disney in the village, real life on the streets. Okay, and my fourth. Moving on, my fourth look is almost the same as my second look. It's the witch when she takes throne.
Yeah. Okay.
It's basically the same thing, but more gold and more layers.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a great picture of her sleeves. She always has sleeves that are like a soft fabric, but I feel like these were a different color. I couldn't get a picture of them. They're sheer though, and she has the same kind of type of armor stuff on the front, but it's all gold and it's a little different. And she doesn't have those shoulder plates in the same way. They're a little different, and she does have this huge collar that comes up behind her, like halfway up her head, behind her neck, and her crown is a lot more elaborate, and I just think it's cool, incredible, gorgeous, love it. The scales in her costume before and after, they're a little bit more sharp, I feel like, in this gold. There's a close-up of when she's walking down the stairs from the emperor's seat down to like the general area, and you can see there's a shot of the fabric trailing along the steps, just going like down each step, and it's just this gold, scaly, heavy.
Yeah, like you can see the weight and everything.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Gorgeous. So that I love.
I wonder how heavy the things actually were. That's like wearing the costume.
You know, the costume designer had said that in Mulan's battle look, that they had like 5 different versions for the different types of fighting she was going to be doing. So I can only imagine.
Damn.
For these other looks that seem a lot heavier than that one.
Yeah. Imagine that.
She said she didn't even count how many costumes they made.
Wow. Yeah.
I think they had 126 people working on the costumes in different capacities.
Shit.
Like there was a dyer and there was a jewelry person, or probably multiple, but whatever. And there was this person.
The jewelry, she
said that what really she would do, they were in this huge warehouse, and she'd get there in the morning and she'd make her rounds to each like area department and answer questions. And she said by the time she finished that, she'd be like, all right, well, it's time to go make another round because they've finished this amount now. And they're going to have next questions. Just go make another round.
That's crazy.
Each department or person.
But hey, that sounds like fun.
I know. In a big old warehouse filled with costumes.
That's cool. Yes. The jewelry and the accessories I thought were really well done too. Like lots of use of stones and jade, like stuff.
A lot of those are historically accurate to the time she's like, that she's basing it off of. Like the color and the texture and where it's placed and the meaning of it, and like which kind of creature she has, like if it's like a tiger that's shown or what that's shown. And she said specifically the body language of the dragons used in costumes is taken directly from the eras that each outfit is mostly influenced by too.
Very
so
cool.
much detail. She did a bunch of research.
Yeah, see, I love that. And that kind of shit really, I mean, I appreciate it hugely. And, you know, clearly I'm like picking up on it because they give the detail, the time and attention to the detail, even in like the photography of it.
You can feel it in a movie like this.
Yeah. So yes, I appreciated all of that. Awesome. Is it my last outfit?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. My last outfit is Boricons, like,
I hoped you were gonna. I knew you were gonna pick this, and I was really hoping you were, because I was like, I'm leaving it off my list in hopes that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because it's mostly like when I was looking at him separated from everyone, I liked it less. But in that final scene in the narrow corridor with the close quarter combat of the soldiers in the red,
it's fighting. Like they're fighting in like a slightly V alleyway.
Yeah,
with a
and
door.
He's like, bolt the door, and then they leave. Okay, first of all, love that scene because I love any close quarter combat. And I loved
CQC.
CQC. Yeah. CQB is usually what you say, I think. Close quarter battle.
Is it a thing?
Yes, I play video games and this is how I talk. Okay. This is what I was like, I
watch Disney movies and this is how we talk.
So yes, CQC, CQB.
I love it. CQC? CQB it is?
Either.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to keep on to that.
And, but I love like all the weapons that the villains had, like the ball and chain and like the swords on the chest, like all that shit I love so much. And really great choreography, use of the walls.
Yeah.
And when they first entered, like the whole clan like lined up in a nice like V coming towards the camera. They looked epic. They looked great. They looked scary. Menacing. Yeah. They look ready to fight. But I liked all they have like masks on and the turbans. You know, the masks very COVID friendly. Love it. But you know, it looks badass. And because they're all wearing black, it's really just about texture and layer, like everything else basically. And
they did that really well too. Like really well. Did it.
Yeah, I thought those costumes were pretty sick.
I love that in this movie, and maybe this is like a personal preference, but my personal preference, it works in this movie. I love that all their fight scenes are super like art. They're like beautiful, aesthetic. Like they're all symmetrical with the camera angles and the colors and the it's art.
Good choreography too. Can I be honest? Like for a Disney movie, I wasn't expecting like. I mean, they have budget, Disney so of course it's gonna Mulan. Be. Yeah, but there was like cool little trick things that I've like haven't seen before. Like when they captured the emperor with the rope, like they. I
was gonna say all these like, creative ways of creative, fighting. And I love that. I feel like that calls to the Chinese way more because the Chinese, at least in films that are Chinese, they always allude to their fighting being more of an art, right?
Yes,
like Asian
absolutely.
fighting in general is more of an art than Western fucking fighting. What do? We're just like sloppy weirdos, like sloppy, sweaty hulks. You know what I mean?
I'm sure there's an art there too.
We're like, we're descended from who are these guys Vikings with the horns? Yeah, like we're from Vikings. We just shred stuff.
Like brute force.
Yeah,
it's a different kind of art, right? Like I love the Chinese martial arts because it's very much like dance.
I mean, it's called martial arts.
Okay, yes.
It is more artistic than Western fighting.
And yeah, like choreography is a huge part, obviously, like when you look at Hong Kong cinema. And I mean, you can tell they pulled out all the stops for this. It looks really good.
Anyway, I love that. I love that throughout the movie. It really is that way. And they worked with the camera and everything with it so that it's like so pristine. Ooh, love it.
Yeah,
that precision to me is quite Chinese as well. Yes. Okay. Everything having like a nice order. I think of like Japanese tea ceremonies and that kind of like precision. I just feel like Asia has a precision, or at least China and have a precision that the US aims for and fails constantly. Or maybe that's just my perspective. And this is also just me coming from Hawaii. So my experience of Asian culture is kind of all mixed in together, but it's a lot. I have a lot of experience of Asian culture being in Hawaii. Secondhand experience, I should say.
Yeah, no, totally.
But I love that it kept all that with it. Like I feel like that vibe was alive through all this.
Vibe was alive.
Vibe was alive.
Your last one.
My last look. My last look is just like kind of a random throw in there. Like I wanted to do something different than the other ones. And I was hoping we'd have a chance to talk about it. My last look is her sister's look when she comes back to the village.
Cute.
After having
Hold on, I don't remember what it looks
been
like.
incredible. Should I send you another picture? Did you get it?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Cool.
It was really hard to get a picture of this. And it's a long skirt. It's just like, it's a more classical looking outfit. She looks like most of the people in the village, but with brighter colors. She has like a light purpley pink under top color that's like the texture is more airy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's sheer or something.
There's blue, like a chartreuse.
Yeah, she has like a silky blue over that like vesty thing, and then her skirt is a chartreuse and they're all patterned and intricate and just gorgeous, but she has just like bright colors, which I love because she's like the loving little sister who's just like happy to see her. Happy. It just fits her character so well, and it's a different mood than all the other looks we get to see in the movie.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So I'm stoked about that. And it's in those Disney brights because we're back in the village. Cool.
I love it. Cute. This was probably the hardest keep or kill.
Oh. Yeah.
Do you have any?
No.
Oh,
I was like, I'll pick my keep and kill as we go on, and I still haven't picked it.
I have a couple that I'd keep, but I mean, it's hard to find reasons to kill an outfit because it's like, well, it works for the story, or I appreciate the craftsmanship.
And I feel like the costume design is so good. It's so true
there wasn't
to
anything that like, I don't know. It's hard to be like, that was bad. There is nothing really,
Yeah, that's
because
how I
also
feel.
and this is our first movie that we're doing that's like of ancient era where we have less reference points.
Yeah.
So very difficult.
And even the keep is hard because
Yeah.
let's be honest, none of this is wearable at all. None of it.
The blue duster kimono that she's riding the horse in. I might wear that.
Yeah, that's wearable. Just that part.
Just that.
Maybe I go with you and keep that.
Okay.
'Cause that is wearable and like around the house style.
Yeah,
Layered over
exactly.
everything she's doing, I wouldn't do that. That's
Yeah,
heavy.
no, you just
That's a lot.
the coat, but just that, and I don't even need the belt. Yeah, I mean, do you want some gold armor?
I mean, it would just be like to keep in a house or something, and it's gonna get dusty.
Yeah.
But I mean, the purple thing is pretty, and if it was my style, how hard would it be to get on though? No way.
Maybe we just need, fuck that. Maybe we just need to say what's our favorite and least favorite, and I would pick because realistically, if I were to keep, it would be that blue duster thing.
Yeah,
but
same
my
here.
favorite was actually the Boricon's gang in the last fight. I would say just collectively that.
Very cool.
Yeah, I would go with that.
I like so many things in this. It's so difficult, but I think my favorite might be the gold armor. I just think I've seen armor so many times, and it's hard to see an armor that's like, oh my God.
This looks different.
And I saw this and I was like, oh my God. And every time I saw it in different scenes, I saw it differently, like in the different light, in the different settings. I was like, oh, and now I'm noticing this detail. And
Totally.
And I just love the gold with it and all the meanings. And
Yeah.
I think that's going to be
great.
if I picked a favorite. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I can't pick, but I'm picking that. So.
Okay.
And can we just not kill?
That's fine.
Do you have something?
If I had to pick,
Oh my
you might
God.
not like my answer. It's the witch lady's first outfit, I would say, is maybe my least favorite.
Why?
I know, it's so hard because it's like I don't even have like reasons. Okay, I love how it looks from the back and like the sides, like the length of it looks good. But when I
Oh my
see
God,
it
I was
just
about to
like
say the opposite.
crop, like when I just see the torso up, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like I don't know, it doesn't really hit me.
You're right. The
It
torso,
doesn't resonate me as much.
The like boob part
Yeah,
and
the
the
boobs
torso-y part.
bit.
Just because they aren't really showcased and they're kind of blocked by the actions she's doing a lot and stuff, they
Sure,
seem to
yeah.
just not have, and they conflict with the amount of skirt.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of thinking I like the epicness in the size of her skirt, but it being that dense the whole way down.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
works when she's doing the kingdom stuff, when she is like taking the throne.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if it works
In
but
the
again,
action
it's like
sequence,
she doesn't need to have that kind of movement because she does it all with her like energy. So it's kind of like, when women have really long nails, the whole idea is like the idea behind that is supposed to resonate is like, I'm able to have these long nails. I don't have to do things that you need
it's like
short nails for.
because you're delicate.
Yeah, it's like
and-
suggesting deep down culturally what it's suggesting. And I feel like that's
dainty.
the length and heaviness of her skirt is also kind of suggesting that I don't need to be kicking and flipping around. I can wear this epic thing.
I like that.
So, but I hear you about the chest armor and all that stuff. Like it's just so many details and some of them get lost with the darkness, especially.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many details. Like
To simplify.
if I were to nitpick her like shoulder pad thingies, the shoulder armor bits,
you
just
don't like.
look a
That's
little
my
cheap.
favorite. I love it.
This
I would not
part,
remove those. Yeah, I think they're
it
great.
just doesn't look like fully fleshed out maybe compared to the rest of it. I don't know.
Okay, sure.
But maybe it works. I don't know. It's
But
impossible.
did they bother you in watching the movie or just in looking at
No,
stills?
I'm just looking at the pictures.
Because I feel like you
now.
should look at maybe more than one still to get the idea then. Because I'm seeing in the still what you're saying, but I don't know. In action, I felt like they looked really cool.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I do
okay,
feel like
okay.
in action, you totally missed her like chest and belted area. So like that could totally be different. Anyway, this is all whatever.
It's just nitpicking because it's impossible.
I do love the concept, but you're right. Like if there were details I would change on anyone's, I'd probably change details on hers.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like you said, it was the one that had kind of the mixed. They were coming at it from two directions, right? Like,
And this is what they landed on.
yeah. So maybe it was kind of a mix of ideas put together. But yeah, her
like-
throne look is epic. It looks great. Like
Yeah.
her more goldish stuff. I like that one. Yeah. Okay. So that was hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any honorable mentions?
I more so have honorable mentions about the movie.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Okay.
I've tried to get better at highlighting the things I want to say about the movie so I don't just like get super heavy-handed at the end, but oh well, I did. The reason I even like this movie is I love what it's saying about women. It's like about embracing who you are and letting your power and strength come through, even if other people are like, I don't know, you're
silence.
Like you're not doing well for me if your power comes through. Like, yeah, but you're doing well for you if your power comes through. Like that whole concept, all of this, I love.
Yeah, all that the themes of she needs to control herself and
hide it away because you can't show it. And like literally in the beginning, when the father is telling her like, we're gonna get you married and you need to hide, you have this great chi, but you're gonna have to hide it.
Yeah.
When he's telling her all that stuff, like, I mean, that's a literal thing that goes on for girls in society, in Western society at this moment, at least in time, is that at around age 9 to 11, there is a studied, like scientifically shift in girls where they start behaving differently because this is what they're told is acceptable for girls to behave. Like they start doing worse on tests and in homework and stuff. Like they start dumbing down what they're putting out, and not because they're stupider, but just because, I mean, it's been studied so much that the assumption is like, well, it's just a cultural thing. Like we can't really tell why, but it is a consistent thing across the board that young girls will start acting stupider, quote unquote, and then suddenly be more interested in the way that they appear, not in like, oh, I like makeup now, because a girl can naturally start liking makeup, but just be suddenly feeling like they need to look perfect in order to exist. Et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I could go on and on, but this is a studied thing that happens in our culture around that age that we see her in on screen when he's telling her that. So it's like a perfect analogy for what's going on currently in culture to young women. So to see that expressed and to see her get to the place where she finds her power and chooses to embrace it, and especially to see the witch woman and know that she has such a similar story, but she just like did her best direction. And it wasn't everything she wanted. And to see that there can be failure and there can be success and there can be all different spots in between. And it also is a perfect analogy for, there's been a lot of talk about the issues between women who've struggled with that in the past, all being harder on the women who are coming up in the world struggling with it, and how like ideally we're helping each other out and we're not making it harder, but like women tend to make it the hardest for women more than men. It's not really like men are putting us down. It's like, no, the older women who've been through this and are jaded about it are more often the ones putting us down. And I don't mean any shame on any specific women by this. Like at this rate, we're the older women too. Like we're definitely older women to the 9-year-olds and all that we are starting to tell, like, don't speak up when that happens or shut your mouth in this. Like we're the ones saying these things now. So equally, I'm putting responsibility on our shoulders, but I love that they had multiple of those tropes showing out, especially because like we said, this is a myth style story. So to give really obvious tropes of what's going on space to be played out on screen is like what this movie is about, what the story is about. So I love that.
Definitely. Yes, me too. The stuff that resonated, or like, you know, obviously that area, but also the kind of the tropes or like the concepts of you know, honor and the you know, you need to bring honor to your family, all of that stuff, which is so like, you know, it's a big part of Asian culture. I mean, in many cultures, but in Asian culture, the honor, the loyalty, the truth, all that stuff is very, were those the three things? I think that was it. And then the family putting like,
that's the fourth one.
That was the fourth one. Yeah. But the concept of death is more honorable than disgrace to your family and shit. I was like, oh my God. And it's like, it's so heavy and forced in this, but that's how it was perceived, you know, like that's how a lot of the times in Asian culture it is brought up. But yeah, that was I'm always like,
what were your feelings about it?
Disgrace is worse than death. Ugh. No,
that's a modern, that's appropriate awful. To think in a modern day.
I mean,
I agree with you.
Like we can become better humans if we stay alive, you know. Like
I don't know about that.
Yeah, because you've disgraced our whole village and a country already. Yeah.
I mean, I looked up the original. What I read was a Vox article about the original myth. So I didn't read the original Mulan. There are like loads of quote unquote the original Mulan.
I had no idea.
There's like, and it's been around for so long. There have been so many iterations, and I knew all this. So I was like, I don't know if I can really find the original and like who's going to have translated it. So I was like, what company do I trust to give me a shorthand of that? So I read this Vox article about it that I'm sure you can find if you just Google Vox Mulan 2020. But in this article, they talked about how it is accurate that throughout time, this Mulan story has been shifted to encourage whatever the values were of that culture and society. So like there are a lot of iterations of this Mulan story that are pro kill yourself if you don't hurt your family or whatever. Like in the movie, she's anti that. Yeah. In a lot of these ancient myths, she's pro. Yeah. She's for it. And
well, I mean, even she in the movie was like, I'd rather be executed. But
oh, I don't remember that. When did you
when they first when she came after
right, then exile. Well, I mean, I just think that's because exile's worse. Yeah. Like what are you gonna do? Die alone in the middle of the forest?
Okay. Yeah, like that. Yeah,
like in the snow.
Yeah. But yeah, that whole thing about disgrace worse than death, I mean, you know, it's also exists in Japanese culture and it sucks. But that, you know,
well, the bottom line of this myth that is consistent throughout is that it's about the values she has in the myth. And so in the original and the first few years and years of iterations afterward, she's going against the law technically, but it's because she's being led by a higher power, which is her commitment to her family. Yes. So it's because of her commitment to her family that it's okay that she went against the law. Yeah. So it's not in our like Disney, in the animated one and this one, movies about Mulan, we have her being like a very 90s I'm my own girl, I'm going to do what I want and I can be my own person kind of thing. Yeah. And that is like zero in the actual myth. That's the opposite in the actual myth. And the actual myth in pretty much all of its iterations until the 90s is about I'm doing this thing, saving my father, because it's for my family. Yeah. Because I'm being selfless and it's not for me. Yeah, exactly. As opposed to I'm doing this for me so I can live a full life and be expressed and that's good for people. Yeah, yeah. It's like not that at all. It's like I'm doing all these things and blah, 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 but it's for my daddy. So it's allowed. So in the end, the emperor is like, in some cases, the emperor in the end is like, you're chill. In the original, she comes back home and she like goes back into girl's clothes. Like nobody knows it was her that was gone necessarily. It's really short as compared to these. So the details are not there. I don't know if the dad technically knew she had left or not, like whatever. But she comes back, she changed back into her girl clothes. They marry her off and she's like so happy to be married to a man. Like she just immediately is like full obedient woman. And it's because she valued being an obedient woman that she went and did this. Like she did this because she's such a perfect bride. That's why she went and fought for her dad instead of because that isn't who she is. She went and did this. So like it's clearly been shifted a lot, but I love that they pointed out in the article that it really is based on the values of the culture in which it's being retold. That's what it's supporting. Yeah.
No, so those are like good distinctions.
Well, these are our values now. So I love that now it's being told this way. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I'm with you. Let's not kill people. Just let's not have shame. I just feel like eradicating shame. If I was God, this would be my thing. Let's eradicate shame. I feel like shame.
Poof, it's gone.
Like every area you look into, you're like, what is the flames that are making this worse? Like, what is the oxygen that's making this flame grow? What is the whatever? And it's shame. Yeah. It's whatever version of shame in all of them. Like, if we weren't shamed about stuff, huh? Yeah. How nice would that be? Okay, sorry, you got any honorable moments or mentions?
I just loved all the cool stunty thingies. Oh, there was one moment that kind of felt a little more James Bondy.
Tell it.
The last battle between her and Bori Khan on like that plank of wood.
Yes.
Yeah, which felt kind of like the crane scene in Casino Royale with Daniel Craig.
I was thinking that too. Yeah. I was like, this, I mean, that could be in any action movie.
It could be
so cool and good. And
cool.
the phoenix comes up behind her and you're like, oh, the wings. Yeah. You're like, I'm not here for an animated movie, but that moment, like the significance, the meaning of that moment, that the power of all of your ancestors are just there lifting you up with their wings right behind you in glowing light. Just like, okay, yeah, the power exists in me.
I love how you interpret it that way because I saw that moment and I was like, ugh.
I feel like you interpret things a little more literally than I do.
Yeah, but also it's just like, why do you have to like make that shot, you know, like that looks like
cheesy to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like the graffiti wall in like LA, the Wings mural.
Oh, please don't compare it to that. That is not what it's like for me. I think for me, I don't know if our listeners know this, I'm a really, really big fan of myths and legends and like the storytelling shifting throughout culture and shifting cultures. I'm a huge fan of this stuff. Like when 2020 first hit, we had to be in isolation. I listened to like 5 different myths a day and started researching some of them. Like this is just what I did to get through it. I love this shit so much. And now they're all mixing in my head. So
good job.
Them. I really need to be like, let me look that one up again and make sure I don't give the wrong ending.
Yeah, exactly.
But all of that stuff, it's all symbolism, right? So like when I see things with the visual stuff, I'm looking at the symbolism a lot more, especially in something that was a myth.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I see things like that and I'm like, that's what it is.
I love that about you. Thanks for enjoying that.
Well, thank you for enjoying the fight scene probably more than me. Cool choreography.
I just wrote cool. Donnie Yen's the best when it was the infiltration scene after they are going back into the you know, to protect the emperor and then the ninjas had snuck in. I was like, yes, Donnie Yen is the best. He's so good with the sword. I don't know if you've seen Ip Man.
No.
Oh, it's like that was the first one that I saw, like movie that I saw that he was like, it was epic Chinese kung fu movie where he was just fucking amazing, and ever since then I've been a huge fan. Yeah, love him. And yeah, that's all the notes I have.
I love that she doesn't go with the guy at the end.
Oh yeah,
hugely significant when it comes to Disney. I think that's a big statement for a Disney movie. Love it.
Yeah,
and she's not like fully denying him or anything, but she's just like,
now's not the time.
I gotta go home. Yeah. Home is what's important to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, but what about me? And she's like, home is what's important to me. I love that. I love that she denies the emperor to go back to her family, which I think in past iterations had a different meaning. But in this iteration, I feel like the meaning is that she's really sticking to herself and doing what's right and important to her. And for her, she wants to go back and make things right with her family.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Even in the face of the emperor, she does it. I just love it. I love that she really does stick to her beliefs when she comes out of there. I feel like I can relate to her and the witch I can see the ways in which I've been the witch, where I've tried to come out and be myself and let that flow. And then I've let society kind of like talk me back. And I've had that like push and pull, and it's made me quite jaded in some areas of my life. And then I've had those moments where I've been Mulan and I've really stuck to myself, and I've let that light glow and that chi pull me and bring me to success. And I've looked back and been like, man, I really stuck to myself, and that's why I just flew on this, and I want to do that more.
Yeah,
like having had both moments as a woman.
And the chi stuff in general I love so much, because it's all about energy, and I fully believe that. And like I wish you'd see it more, or just like talk about like it's a cultural thing also, a bit, but I mean, energy is everywhere. And I like that they put such importance, and because I don't remember it from the animated.
They don't talk about it,
right?
In the animated.
Yeah, okay. No, I was like, this is something new, but I love that they brought that in for this.
I feel like Western culture, at least American culture, is still not stoked to talk about energy stuff. I mean, there's a specific area that is stoked to talk about it. But I feel like there's a real battle between we talk about energy stuff or we absolutely do not talk about energy stuff.
Is it about stokedness or is it about awareness though? Like, do we just need to see it more?
I guess it's different when something's just neutral and not talked about versus if something is a little bit talked about and fought at the same time. I feel like this is one of those subjects that is really some people really talk about and others are really fighting.
I see.
And I think it's because it's what I'm perceiving, and I'm coming from more of like health stuff because that's just my big area of interest. It seems like the fight comes between like science and energy stuff, and it's like the idea that energy stuff can't exist within the world of science.
Yes.
But like it can and does.
Yeah, I know, right? Energy is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
and like we can also talk about things in the hypothetical if they aren't proven yet, without giving them the weight of the world, and that's okay too. Like it doesn't mean we're anti-science to discuss things. Personally, I feel like energy stuff, once we start getting companies who are down to study energy more, like to foot the bill, really, put money behind it, we're going to have such advancements when we can harness more of all, like we know there's energy everywhere and how things interact with it. We've not really harnessed much of that besides literally like wind power, which is great.
Yeah, but electricity.
When we know the more details of how they interact and can start working with those through science.
And when we talk about energy, I'm talking about like the use of, you know, your hands and the energy you can create with just your hands. Like Reiki healing and stuff like that. Like, I
think all of the above. Because it's all energy, right? And like that alone is like, we need someone to study this. All of this is energy, this little thing and this whole big thing. Like all this is this crazy thing that's this unseen, like what?
Yeah.
I'm like, man,
unseen.
I can't wait till we have more science not pushing against it as much as also studying it. Like,
yes, more.
I'm just not for the fighting of things for the sake of. It feels like when it comes to this, just to be fair, when it comes to medical stuff, there tends to be in the US this fear of like, don't let things that we don't consider medical come into the conversation because it's dangerous. And that like 1% rich white man from the 1930s kind of corporate mentality. And I feel like it still exists a lot in areas of medical stuff in the US. And because of that, I'm like, can we stop? It doesn't have to be a fight. I'm not fighting.
Yeah. I'm not fighting.
We love you all.
I don't want to fight you.
We're all friends here.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Let's all go for it.
No, totally.
Anyway, and I feel like, the science community is kind of backpacking off the medical in that way. But like, you don't have to. We can be our own cool science boys. We need some money probably to study it though.
There can be bridges. Yeah.
But I love that. And especially I love that Eastern culture, to be general, has so much more openness to even mentioning something like energy without it being like, we can only say it in this certain perspective. Like the fact that this one lady's called a witch, I'm like, oh my God, so Western that they did that.
The other Western thing, this is so small. When they're like, hit the showers, guys. It like feels like such a American army thing. I'm like, okay, they're probably bathing like in a lake, which she is. You think they had showers? I don't think so. Even maybe they did.
One of the articles I read even about Mulan was saying that the like 1998 Mulan, according to the Chinese culture, Chinese people at large who wrote articles when it came out, I guess, is they were saying Chinese like, well, this is a fully white Chinese like she's not really Chinese, but okay, they tried to place it in China.
Yeah, sure.
It was just such a white person thing, and I'm like, it was
1998.
Sure was
4-8 something.
And like we're glad that that's evolving.
Yeah,
but you had to start somewhere. Okay, fine.
For sure, had to start somewhere, and I'm glad we got the story when we were young. Anyway.
Yeah, me too. So happy about it.
Okay, I have one question. Is the song at the end?
It's a new song, I think.
It is a new song.
It's not the original Reflections.
No. I know that. Who sings it?
Christina Aguilera.
It is Christina, right?
Yeah, she came back.
They brought her back. I love that.
And she had very cool outfits for her press stuff about it.
Oh, I didn't see any of it.
Very layerdy.
But yeah, I sat and listened to the last song because I was like, that sounds like Christina. Very cool.
Very, very
Thanks
cool.
for confirming.
Hi, it's Christine. You're right about those music cues too, though. In the middle, there would be like
reflection. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Loved it.
So cool. All right. Overall, any overall thoughts of yours? I feel like I've given mine a lot.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Going into it, I was like, okay, yeah, it's a Disney movie. Let's see. But then Act 2, I was like, okay, I'm in. And then Act 3, I was like, this is great.
Right? Okay, that's how I felt when I watched it. I had the same exact. It's a Disney live action, and usually they're absolute shit. So, but I was like, this one's Mulan though. It's my heart. So let's see.
I mean, visually, it had a lot. Like, just to pull you in right from the start, there's like this gorgeous shot of her, walking. It was an overhead shot when she was walking up the stairs. It was like when they're infiltrating the Emperor's palace again.
Yeah.
At the end, and it's just like white stairs and this little red person running through. Like it looked stark and amazing. Like so many visually eye-catching things. But where I'm usually used to watching Bond movies, where the third act drops off, this one it was the opposite. Where it started less with a bang, and then it got better and better. To me.
Yeah. Totally. Okay, I have just one other note that I had forgot to mention.
Tell me.
Did you notice that the Emperor
is Jet Li? Because I didn't.
Wait, you did though?
No, until the very end, and I was like, "Wait, is it?" And then I had to Google. Yeah. Okay, tell me.
I did. To be honest, I didn't. I was just like, "Oh, I know that guy's face," and I just didn't care
I didn't
who it
even
was.
recognize.
People love. I noticed.
I love Jet Li.
I'm the one who doesn't care about those things. When we're watching movies, I love like Studio Ghibli movies, and whenever I'm watching with someone like Princess Mononoke or whatever, they'll be like, "Who's the voice of this?" Or I think it's this voice, and I'm like, "Stop trying to figure it out and watch the movie."
I definitely get stuck on those things. Okay, so the Emperor.
The thing I had to say, the Emperor's mouth is digitally talking.
Oh.
And I don't know if the voice is VO or not. Like if that's
because
whatever,
I think
but
it
the
is.
mouth is not.
Dude, that makes sense because I'm like, this is not Jet Li's voice. And
oh, really? Okay.
At least that's what I was thinking. I'm like, he doesn't, because he speaks more with an accent.
Well, I looked it up a bunch, and it was I feel like Disney was like, "Nuh-uh, we don't want articles of this kind."
Oh my God.
I could only find a little bit, and what it seems to be the answer, what the answer kept saying was that he is speaking they kept saying Jet Li is in the Mandarin version, and not acknowledging he was in the English-speaking version. I guess there's a Mandarin version of the movie. Oh. And so my understanding based on these weird clips and bits was like, was he just straight speaking Mandarin? And then they were like, we didn't record the English version. Change his mouth.
Weird.
Or something. This is a question to the audience. Because I'm surprised I'm not a big, I don't know how to dig about this on Google that well. I don't usually have a problem like this. But I clearly couldn't find the answer directly.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But definitely it's confirmed that his mouth was digitally moving.
Crazy.
To me, it's so weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
His mouth is just like, it's like, it's not like 70s where the mouth would be different. It's more like a weird 2000s digital version where you're like,
it's so a deep fake.
Strange. Yeah. A weird deep fake moment. Like, was Jet Li in this? Or did they
exactly.
just cast him after?
Now I'm questioning everything.
No, it was Jet Li. It was Jet Li.
Okay.
He even did press tours about it. But still, I couldn't find any videos in his press tours about him talking about his digital mouth.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I don't even know. Does he speak Mandarin? If he speaks with an accent, usually, does he? Maybe?
So I thought he spoke Cantonese.
Maybe I'm getting it wrong because clearly my research wasn't good.
But also he has a thicker accent, kind of. So when you talk about the articulation of people, accent. Maybe it's that. And then that's like, that would be a little bit more fucked up if it was like, well, I don't know. It's kind of like for the art, you want people to understand and articulate.
It can be like a difficult accent if it's thick.
Yeah. So there is a, it's a little delicate.
Well,
but
imagine them making you being that famous and them fucking your mouth up and getting a VO because of your accent. And this is what you'd be like, couldn't you have just told me on set? Yeah. I could have done a little better.
Coach.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like this happens in movies all the time, by the way, for those who are not filmmakers.
Like after the fact.
That like you just get people on the crew will be too anxious to tell a really big star something like this.
Oh, like you need to change something
like
about
you. Or you need to tell them something's not great or to do it differently, that they will go through with the movie having it be the shit version. And this is why stars are so picky about who they'll work with on productions, because they're like, it makes us look bad.
Yeah.
Tell me the thing you want me to do better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they do react poorly when they're famous and you tell them to do something differently.
Sure.
They really do.
Yeah.
So
It's
hence the
ways.
necessary pairing between
Yeah.
director and actor and everything to be really smooth.
Yeah.
Because it can be really hard to be like, I'm so sorry, it's our 7th take and I've already told you to change this 7 times and I don't want to be an asshole, but can you just try one more time to even better not put your foot on the left this time? Like usually it's something so simple, you know? And it's hard to go back a 10th time and be like, you still fucked it up. It's been 10 fucking takes and it's just your foot. Move your fucking foot. You know, like the opening of Love Actually where he's singing the song, what's his name? Bill Nighy is singing the song wrong. They're in a recording studio and he keeps singing the original instead of the Christmas version. And his manager has to come on and be like, well, you did it again, Bill.
Yeah.
It's that exact moment where you're like, I don't want to be an asshole, but you did it wrong.
Keep fucking it up.
Luckily, he's nice about it. He's like, oh, you're right. So, like, usually, it's quite scary.
Swear words.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Anyway,
Sorted.
interesting, fun. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for listening. We had so much fun talking about this. It's fun to do out of the ordinary movies for us and get a different, it's like shakes things up.
Yeah.
You know? It's so fun.
Ordinary is Bond.
Out of our Bond ordinary is what I mean. Please tell us if you guys like this or not. We would love feedback on these types of movies. If this is good, if this is too inaccessible. I know it's on Disney Plus only at the moment, etc., etc. Give us your feedback, please. We love you. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you want to see pictures of the outfits we talked about, go to our Instagram at Dressed to Kill Pod, to be clear. Or go to our Twitter at DTKPOD. If you want to give us more feedback there, we would love to hear it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cato.